Right now, inside you, there's a whole civilization 38 trillion living things. That's about the same number as your own human cells, which means, if you go by the count, you're only about half you. The rest is them. And here's what nobody tells you: that hidden civilization is quietly running a lot of the show. It's helping decide how much energy you pull out of your food. It's talking to your brain. It's training your immune system as you sit here. It might even be tugging on your mood right now while you watch this. By the time this video is over, you're going to understand this whole world. What your gut actually is, why it matters more than you think, and exactly how to rebuild it if it's a mess. I'm not going to pad this out. Let's just get into it. We'll start at the very beginning, because most people get the first part wrong. They don't even know what the gut really is. When someone says gut, they usually picture the stomach. That's not really it. Your gut is the whole digestive tract, from your mouth all the way through, and the real action happens further down, in your small and large intestines. That's where you absorb nutrients. That's where the trillions of microbes live. So gut health isn't just about avoiding a stomachache. It's about the whole system working properly. Breaking food down, pulling out what you need, keeping the troublemaker microbes in line, and staying in constant contact with the rest of your body. That last part is the key, because your gut isn't just a tube that food falls through. It actually thinks. Stay with me on that, because it gets weird in a minute. Living down in your intestines is that community I mentioned, the gut microbiome. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, all living together, mostly packed into your colon. And I know the instinct. Bacteria are bad, right? That's honestly the biggest myth in this entire subject. The vast majority of your gut bacteria are either harmless or actively on your team. They break down the fiber you eat. They make vitamins your body can't produce on its own, like vitamin K and a few of the B vitamins. They teach your immune system what to attack and what to ignore. They physically guard the wall of your gut. Only a small group are the bad actors, and even those usually behave themselves as long as the balance holds. Speaking of that wall, your gut lining is shockingly thin. One single layer of cells with a coat of mucus over it, and that's the whole thing standing between the chaos inside your intestines and the rest of you. Picture a bouncer at a door. Nutrients get waved through, bacteria and toxins get turned away at the entrance. Keep that bouncer in mind. He comes back later, and it matters. Okay, here's the weird part I promised. Your gut has its own brain. It's called the enteric nervous system. Around 500 million neurons, wired right into your gut wall, and it can run on its own. That's more neurons than your whole spinal cord has. That's why researchers started calling the gut your second brain. And these two brains are texting each other non-stop, down a private line called the gut-brain axis, which runs through your vagus nerve, your hormones, immune signals, and chemicals your microbes make. So when someone says they've got a gut feeling, they're not just being cute. That's a real signal traveling down a real wire. And traffic goes both directions, which is exactly why a struggling gut can drag your mood and your stress right down with it. Remember this one. We're coming back to it, and when we do, it's going to change how you think about anxiety. Now, where did your personal civilization even come from? You picked up your first microbes at birth, and even the way you were born tips the starting mix one way or another. Then breast milk or formula fed the early residents, and over your first few years, your food, your home, your pets, the dirt you got into, all of it filled the place out. Here's the wild bit. Your microbiome ended up as unique as your fingerprint. Take identical twins, same DNA, and their gut communities still look noticeably different. Nobody else on the planet has your exact inner world. But not every microbiome is equally good. The thing that matters most is diversity, which just means how many different species you're hosting. And the rule is dead simple. More variety means more resilience. A diverse gut is like a rainforest, packed and stable and hard to knock over. A low-diversity gut is more like a single crop in a field, where one bad event wipes the whole thing out. That wiped out, out-of-balance state has a name: dysbiosis. Not enough of the good ones, too many of the bad ones, not enough variety overall. Track down almost any gut problem and you'll usually find dysbiosis at the bottom of it. So why does feeding these microbes matter this much? Here's the payoff, and I love this bit. When your good bacteria break down fiber, they pump out compounds called short-chain fatty acids. One of them, butyrate, is basically premium fuel for the cells lining your colon. It keeps that wall strong. It quiets inflammation down. Read that back for a second. You hand the bacteria some fiber, and they turn around and repair and protect your gut from the inside for you. It's a trade, and it's been running for millions of years. Those same helpful bacteria also keep up your mucus layer, the buffer that holds microbes at a safe distance from your gut wall. And they're always drilling your immune system, which starts to make sense once you hear this. Roughly 70% of your immune tissue is stationed right around your gut. So your gut sitting close to your immune system undersells it. Your gut is a huge chunk of your immune system. Now back to that bouncer at the door. Here's what happens when things go sideways. Under long-term stress, a lot of alcohol, a junk food diet, or certain infections, that barrier can loosen up. It starts letting through stuff it would normally block. You've probably heard people call this leaky gut. Let me be straight with you, because there's a lot of nonsense here. Increased intestinal permeability is a real thing that's actually studied. But leaky gut syndrome, sold as some catch-all diagnosis with a miracle cure attached, that part isn't established medicine. Be careful with anyone trying to sell you the cure. All right, theory is useful, but let's get practical. How do you figure out where your own gut stands? You read the signals. A healthy gut is honestly kind of boring, in a good way. Regular, comfortable trips to the bathroom. Not much bloating. Energy that stays fairly steady. You can eat a wide range of foods without paying for it later. Your mood holds fairly level. When your gut's happy, you basically forget it's there. An unhappy gut gets loud about it. Lots of bloating and gas. Bathroom habits bouncing between extremes. New food intolerances showing up that weren't there before. And here's what catches people off guard. A lot of the time, the symptoms aren't even in your belly. There's the fatigue, because an inflamed, out-of-whack gut drains your energy and blocks you from absorbing nutrients properly. There's the skin stuff, through something called the gut-skin axis, where gut inflammation shows up as acne, eczema, or rosacea. And there's the mood swings, riding down that gut-brain wire we talked about. Even your weight ties into this, because your microbiome affects how much energy you pull out of food and how your hunger hormones behave. Two people can eat the exact same meal and walk away with different amounts of it, and part of that gap comes down to bacteria. And your bathroom? Think of it as a daily report card. The shape, the color, how regular things are, those are actually useful readouts. Smooth, formed, and on a regular schedule usually means the machine's running fine. Here's the part I really want to land, because it's the sneakiest thing about all of this. Your gut can be in trouble completely silently. Dysbiosis and low-grade inflammation can quietly simmer for a long time before you feel anything obvious. Which is the whole reason building good habits early beats scrambling to fix things after they've gone loud. And one serious note. Some signs aren't tune up your gut signs, they're go see a doctor now signs. Blood in your stool, losing weight when you weren't trying to, pain that won't let up, a sudden change in your bathroom habits that sticks around. If that's you, this video isn't your answer. A professional is. Please don't sit on that. Okay, you get the world, you can read your own signals. Now the thing you actually clicked for. What do? If you take one single word away from this whole video, make it this one. Fiber. Fiber is the master key. It's the raw material your good bacteria turn into all those protective compounds. Starve your gut of fiber and you're starving the exact microbes keeping you healthy. There are two main kinds, and they team up. Soluble fiber, which dissolves, feeds your bacteria, and softens things. And insoluble fiber, which adds bulk and keeps everything moving along. Let me clear up 4 words that get thrown around all the time, because once these click, food labels stop confusing you. Prebiotics are the food for your good bacteria. Garlic, onions, oats, bananas, beans. Probiotics are the live microbes themselves, the reinforcements you swallow. Fermented foods are the tasty delivery trucks carrying those microbes in. Yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso. And they can genuinely bump up your diversity. Then postbiotics are the output, the good byproducts your bacteria make, like that butyrate from earlier. So the chain runs pretty cleanly. You eat prebiotics, they feed the probiotics, and you end up with postbiotics doing work for your body. Here's a target that beats obsessing over any single so-called superfood. Try to hit 30 different types of plants a week. Not 30 servings, 30 different plants. Herbs count, spices count, nuts, seeds, beans, every color of vegetable you've got. A big study found people who hit around that 30 mark had noticeably more diverse and healthier microbiomes than people eating 10 or fewer. Variety really is the whole game here. Now the other side. What quietly trashes your gut? Ultra-processed foods, too much added sugar, too much alcohol, and a diet that's just low in fiber, which describes how most people eat these days. There's also growing evidence that some artificial sweeteners can mess with your microbiome and your blood sugar response. It varies by person and by which sweetener, but the point is worth knowing. 0 calories doesn't automatically mean 0 effect on your gut. And don't skip the boring one, water. Staying hydrated keeps things moving, helps that protective mucus layer do its job, and lets fiber actually work instead of backing you up. It's dull advice with a big payoff. Let's talk repair now, because life is going to bang up your gut at some point, and knowing how to rebuild is the whole ballgame. Start with the big one, antibiotics. Sometimes you genuinely need them, and they save lives, no argument. But they don't aim well. They take out the harmful bacteria and your helpful ones at the same time, and your diversity can take a real hit. Good news is it usually bounces back, though sometimes not all the way on its own. So after a course, you help it along the same way you'd build any healthy gut. Pile on the fiber-rich plants and fermented foods, stay steady with it, and give it weeks to months. The patience is part of the treatment. And it's not only food that moves the dial. There are 3 lifestyle levers that honestly beat most supplements. First, stress. Long-term stress travels down that gut-brain wire and physically changes your gut, its movement, how permeable it is, its microbial balance. This is the one I told you we'd circle back to. Your anxiety and your gut aren't really 2 separate problems sitting in different rooms. They're feeding each other in a loop. Which means getting your stress handled isn't some soft self-care extra. For your gut, it's actual treatment. Second, sleep. Bad sleep throws off your microbiome and its daily rhythm, and your gut turns around and messes with your sleep right back. Sort one out, and you tend to help the other. Third, movement. Regular moderate exercise is tied to more diversity in there, and more of those short-chain fatty acid-making good guys. You don't need to run marathons. Doing it consistently beats going extreme. Now let me hit the questions I already know you're thinking. Should I just grab a probiotic supplement? Sometimes it helps, like after antibiotics or for specific conditions. But the strains and the quality are all over the place, and plenty of products promise way more than they deliver. For most people, sorting your food out first is the reliable base, and it's cheaper too. How fast can I actually change my gut? Quicker than you'd guess in one sense, because your diet can shift your microbiome within days. But building the deep, lasting diversity is a months-long job. Easy to nudge, slow to truly rebuild. You might have heard about the dramatic stuff too, like fecal microbiota transplants, where they literally move a healthy donor's microbiome into a patient. That's real, and it's genuinely proven for certain severe infections. But for everyday gut goals, it's still experimental, not a shortcut. And those at-home gut test kits? They're interesting, sometimes fun to poke at, but a lot of them are limited in accuracy and hard to actually act on. Treat any result as a fuzzy snapshot, not a diagnosis. So with all of that on the table, here's the simplest version. The thing to actually write down. Eat a wide range of plants and plenty of fiber. Get some fermented foods in. Ease off the ultra-processed stuff and the heavy drinking. Move your body most days. Sleep. Get your stress under control. And keep it up. You don't have to be perfect at it. You just have to keep showing up. That's the whole thing. That's the real science of your gut, boiled down into stuff you can start doing today. Because that civilization inside you isn't going anywhere. The only question left is whether you keep dumping junk on it, or you finally start feeding it right and let it work for you instead of against you. You now know more about your gut than most people ever will, so do something with it. Go eat one plant you don't normally touch, today. And if this changed how you think about your own body, hit subscribe, because the next thing your gut is secretly steering is going to surprise you even more.